Hi, I'm Latanya Davis, founder of 4C in the C-Suite. I'm a Black woman with natural hair who's led real change in companies that most of you know. Today I'm here to talk about something that we don't hear enough about: equity outcomes in the talent cycle. Too often, diversity, equity, inclusion conversations focus on programs and feel good moments, but where are the receipts? Where's the proof that people's lives actually change? I'm here to lead the pathway for some of you because I've been in the trenches driving outcomes that matter. Equity isn't a checklist or a policy document. It's a culture of accountability and power sharing. And the talent cycle, recruitment, compensation, hiring, feedback, promotion, sponsorship, retention, the exit plan. It's all where it happens and where it doesn't. If you want equity, you have to look hard at the data, the stories, and the leadership conversations that are often avoided. You have to be willing to lead when others don't. So it all starts with the audit. I always start an audit with a real, honest conversation, not surface level numbers, but a deep dive into what's working and what's not. We're looking at data by race, gender, role, tenure, but we don't stop there. We pair it with the stories from your team members because people's lived experiences throughout the talent cycle are your strongest truth. And here's where the flywheel spins. I meet directly with the key stakeholders: board members, executives, talent acquisition, executive recruiters, human resources, managers, directors, and I've even created executive DEI sponsor roles. I meet with them regularly, and often during the business reviews and the all team meetings is where I share what's working well and what may need to change. This is where accountability grows. We get really clear on the barriers and blind spots. Sometimes it's not as comfortable, but it's necessary. Too often people shy away from talking about race, but I say we have to. That's why I created my signature Race Table Talk, where I facilitate conversations with the highest level leaders in the organization. The goal is to put them in position to where they feel comfortable to be able to share their questions, their thoughts about the things that they've been thinking. There's no way that you can lead equity and inclusion or really build a healthy work culture without it. The next thing I do is I listen to employees. These are called listening circles or focus groups. When I create a listening circle or focus group, I bring the team members across the organization together so they can speak freely. What is intriguing to me is that most employees are willing to talk if I'm in the room. There has been, sometimes an issue where people don't necessarily trust the leadership team. And so because I get to work with a lot of leaders, it puts me in a position to be able to let them know that the trust is there. They have to just be put in position to see that it actually does work. So in these conversations, we talk about the things that are working for them and their experience in the talent cycle from the time they onboarded and to the time that they are promoted. And we talk about what's really working, what they really like in the organization, and those things are really key. So often we focus on what's wrong in an organization. We don't stop to find out what do people really like about the organization. There's not going to be 100% agreement across the board, but the things that I can step in and be able to support are to build a healthy work culture, accountable conversations, and to make sure that there's equity and inclusion throughout the entire talent cycle for everybody in the building. Let's move into high leverage solutions. This is something I think is really key. In most places, you'll always find an initiative or a program that's put on the table as a high leverage move, when in fact, it's not the case. I know you probably have heard this before, or maybe you haven't heard this before, but I want to tell you what the difference is. So we need to focus on high leverage solutions that are going to move in a strategic way that shift culture and power. That might mean redesigning the promotion criteria or strategy. It might mean reshaping the sponsorship program or building one specifically for your organization, but always tied to measurable goals. And the goals will be both qualitative and quantitative. Something I find that's really key is around making your decision around whether something is whether a barrier should have a program as a solution, or a policy as a solution. When you take the time to audit, you get to learn, again, what's working well and what's not working well. And that's going to be your key to determine whether or not you move with a program or you move with a policy. What I think is really important around diversity, equity, inclusion, or whatever you're choosing to call it, is that you have to have an equity strategy that is co-created with ownership. I'm going to say that again. You have to have an equity strategy that is co-created with ownership. So when I create with executives, HR, TA, managers, team members. Everyone owns the outcomes. They're responsible for the outcomes because it's their organization. So often, leaders of DEI may burn out because they're doing the work, and that's not what it should look like. You are there to advise, you're there to consult, you're there to educate, you're there to provide the highest leverage strategy for an organization. And so what this means is if we find that there's a barrier in the promotion cycle, this means that HR needs to own that barrier along with everyone else right in the room. So when you have clear goals, clear metrics, you have timelines, you have a flywheel of feedback loops, this is how real equity takes root, because now everyone has built themselves in a position to where there's trust. And we're able to go into spaces and say, hey, this is really working really well. And that is what we've consistently seen. In the spaces that I lead, outcomes are lit. Equity is met, inclusion is high. And this is because I go in with a people first mindset, title second. I'm going to say that again. People first, title second. When you go in with that sort of a mindset, you're able to create really great trust among your leadership team and among the employees. This allows people to see you as a person who is able to go in and lead in the best way for everyone in the building. Leading equity in the talent cycle is incredibly important work. It means showing up, being honest, demanding the results, no platitudes, and no lip service. As a Black woman with natural hair who's done this work repeatedly and has enjoyed the process, I'm here to lead the way for others. I have the frameworks, the flywheels, the conversations, and even the AI GPT tools with the receipts to back it up. We want to build a future where equity is real and lasting. If you want to learn more from me, go ahead and sign up for our toolkits today. Thank you.